Hi, everybody, and welcome to probably the largest collaboration, the largest collab Let's Play that I've done to date. This is going to be Let's Co-op the Quarry with 8 players. Hi, everybody. Um, so, for those of you who are not familiar with this game, it's become relatively popular within the last month as of this recording. For those of you who enjoy games like Until Dawn or the Dark Pictures Anthology, which is essentially horror games but heavily story-driven horror games, where throughout the game, based on how you play it, whether it's major decisions, whether it's quick time events, etc., certain characters throughout the story can live or die. And you just continue playing through the game with whatever happens casualty-wise with the cast. So, as someone like myself who is not a huge fan of things that are scary in general, the story aspect of these games I ends up making up for it, which is why I actually genuinely love Until Dawn and have had a great time playing the Dark Pictures Anthology. So The Quarry is a similar genre type of game that I think is very ambitious because it allows the ability for 8 players to play within the game at the same time. And we're all going to give it a try just to see how it all works out, and hope for the best, because this is going to be a completely blind playthrough. I don't think anyone on this, in this group, has experienced the game, either played it or seen anyone else play it. So that'll be very exciting. And yeah, so before we dive in, I promise you we're going to get into the game. I promise you we will. But I want to take the time for everybody to introduce themselves, so all of you viewers know who all the different players are. So I would like for every person to please share with us how you would like for us to refer to you as, your pronouns, where you're from, and if you happen to have a YouTube channel, feel free to tell us a little about your channel and your content.
Hi, I'm Hales. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I use they, them pronouns. And I am going to start my YouTube channel, but I have collabed with Hark and several other people here for his campaigns and other streamers. So that's fun. I love horror survival games, although this will be the first one I've admittedly actually played and probably played all the way through. So I'm excited to go in blind and kind of have that anticipation and fear of aspect, because I love horror.
You may have seen Hales in such tabletop campaigns as
the Harry Potter spin-off Session 9 is Anna the Werewolf, and my channel name is EH Indigo.
Yeah, so Shay, he, and I live in South Ontario, Canada. And so I do have a channel for gaming, manga, and anime reactions. Just kind of going all over the place, just to have fun. And I have collabed with Hark plenty of times over the years. It's been fun being around here. Borderlands, the Dark Picture Anthology games, the horror, he's my gateway into horror games in general. So here I am, trying out the Quarry with a bunch of other players and just seeing how the dynamic plays out. The best part of these kinds of games for me is the community aspect of watching them with other people, not doing solo. I'm not a big solo horror fan, especially from a survivor genre. But I did grow up with Freddy Krueger and Jason. And so here we are. And I think that this is going to be a spiritual successor to all of that.
I'll follow because I am also from that same spirit of Freddy and Jason. Hi, I'm Alex. I go by he, him pronouns. And I also have, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Southern Peach. And I also have a YouTube channel, Classic Gamer, where I do all kinds of gay let's plays of different RPGs, action video games. And so I haven't really done a horror game, and this would be my first one. And I'm excited. So yeah, I grew up with all those 80s horror, Friday the 13th. So I'm ready with my counselor shirt on to be killed.
Cool. Alex, did you mention what you and I collaborated with on?
Yeah, so I collaborated with you and Emily as well on the Athenaeum tabletop campaign that is currently being posted on your channel. So exciting. I play Frankie, a nice big blue Frankenstein-esque monster with psychic powers. So cool.
I am Samantha. My pronouns are she, her. I'm in Maryland right now, but I'm from Illinois, so hey, what's up? I'm doing this because I love horror movies, but I hate horror games. But I love watching people's reactions to horror games. Those are probably my favorites, especially when they get really scared. That's probably me too. I can't really control my facial features very well because I have big reactions to things. If people like play with me and stuff, so they know that. So I don't know if we're gonna be filmed while we play this, but know that I'm having big facial expressions probably. But I'm really excited to do the horror game stuff. It's I've never done it before, but with everyone here, I'm feeling pretty brave. So
It might not be as scary with 7 other people.
exactly.
Yeah.
Nice ease into it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll be screaming together.
Hey. Perfect.
So my name's Emily. I go by she, her. I'm from Sacramento, California, and like Alex was saying earlier, I've collaborated with Hark in the past playing in the Athenaeum campaign as Tori from the horror genre, so I think it's really fitting that I'm participating in this collab today. But yeah, growing up, very much like Alex, I grew up on all the 80s horror films. As far as video games, definitely like Resident Evil and like Amnesia, The Dark Descent, all of those good stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited to play.
Hi there, everybody. I go by Lucky Jack, he, him. I also am in the Sacramento area, and my experience with horror has typically, like, growing up, the scariest movie for me was Gremlins, so I'm not like super. I'm not super into like
That was
the.
so scary.
I know enough about the slasher genre that I'm looking forward to this. I have dabbled in Until Dawn. Honestly, as far as collabs and horror goes, my main starts with that was the Telltale Walking Dead series, if we can consider that kind of horror. I did, of course, the podcast group discussions on Angel Arts' channel. I've also collabed in the past in his Dragon Age role plays, Borderlands, Overcooked, all that. I'm here primarily because I, A, do enjoy good horror games, and B, always have had a good time with Angel Arts on these collab projects, so I'm looking forward to some more fun. As far as what I currently do, I do have a Let's Play channel on YouTube by LuckyJack020, but I also, primarily at the moment, collab with some friends on Jamesman Extremes gaming channel. We do all sorts of different genres there. We actually just finished recording. It's not going to go up yet, but we just finished recording a playthrough of Resident Evil 3 Remake, so we definitely also have horror stuff there for people who are looking into that.
Also, what was the very first collaboration you did with me, Lucky Jack?
Oh my gosh.
Earthbound fans.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I completely skipped over that right onto Walking Dead. Yeah, no, my whole first start was the big voice-acted Let's Play Earthbound, which has horror elements if you look for it close enough. But yeah, no, oh my gosh, just long history.
Long time ago.
Yeah, who did you, I mean, nobody important. Who did you play in that particular project?
I gotta go reach from up here. Sorry.
Is that what I?
Yeah, I think I still got him.
Oh, he played Ness. Voice
Got a
of
little
Ness.
Ness guy here. Gonna keep him right over there. I keep my little.
I always like to make Lucky Jack blush because I always tell people that I consider Lucky Jack my YouTube boyfriend. Reclusiarch is my YouTube husband, but Logan is my YouTube boyfriend. So we've known each other for a very long time.
Long time.
Yay! My name is Sky. I usually go by Kiwi online. My pronouns are he, him. And I am from around Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Therefore, my first language is French, so my English isn't always up to par, but I do my best. When it comes to horror, I'm a big horror buff. I should have put like one of my t-shirts on because I have one from Get Out. I have a t-shirt for hello sweetheart. I have a t-shirt of an American Werewolf in London as well. Like I have a bunch of them. I'm a horror nerd. So playing a game like this one, actually getting to play it, because Until Dawn was one of those games I could not run on my PC a while ago. Now I can. And actually getting to play them is gonna be amazing. I watched Hark's Let's Play on Until Dawn. I watched a bunch of other of them. So I'm excited for this. And in terms of collabs, I have played in Hark's Pokemon campaign in the spin-off. In the Mass Effect Season 2 campaign as Vito. And I guested in Athenium more recently as B. And we did have that one collab of Morning Dew Farms that
Yes.
I still love rewatching to this day.
Morning Dew Farms is a visual novel that has very, I'm gonna say, zesty scenes that my mother-in-law walked in on us while watching the zesty scenes, which was, so if you want to see us being very embarrassed having to explain to
All right, so I'm gonna put that on my list.
Oh, it's hilarious. There was also and also Colin, like before he knew what we were doing, was walking on us as well. He was like, "What are you watching?"
Oh my gosh.
And it's hilarious.
What the heck is that?
Just blame Kiwi.
Kiwi is also the president of our Discord chat.
Yes.
He even has his own secret service. Roma, by the way, is our secret service for President Kiwi. So there you go.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. So we have a very eclectic group, and I think it should be a very fun group. I'm super excited. I love just the ability to sort of take the time to not only experience games like this, collaborate with this group, but hopefully we'll also have some really interesting discussions as we're playing through the game. So fair warning to all of you who are watching, like warning number one, if you know anything about myself and the way that I Let's Play, I like to take my time. I like to savor the moments, and I can be very analytical about it. And so if you are the type of person, if you're a viewer right now who just wants, the Let's Player to shut up and just play the game already, I'm telling you now, this is probably not the Let's Play for you. But there might be moments where we might just pause just to talk about a situation, talk about the plot, talk about the characters, talk about what's happening. And I'll try to keep that under control, because I know Shay, for example, does the same thing. So I'll try to keep it within reason to not spend 30 minutes pausing a game just talking about whatever. But I do want us to take the time and just because there's 8 of us, just have a chance for us to take advantage of the collaboration and do some discussions as necessary on the plot. So, one warning to you all there. The second warning I will also warn to all the viewers is that the way that the Quarry's remote or online co-op works is different from what you might expect. There is a couch co-op way to play this game where you do essentially pass the controller from one player to another, and that player pretty much plays that character throughout the course of the game. That is not how it works in remote co-op. So the way that the remote online co-op works I'm actually the one that's essentially controlling all of the characters, probably doing all the quick times. So the other 7 players' role is, for every single time there is a decision that has to be made, the other 7 vote on the decision. And they essentially have the freedom to vote on whatever they'd like. So if they want to screw me over, they're welcome to screw me over if they want. Majority rules. And I think if there happens to be a tie, I think the players and me breaks the tie. I think that's how that works. But anyway, so yeah, I think that'll be interesting just to see how that plays out. I think that it would have been nice for everyone to have had their own character to play with, but you know, we'll see how this works out. And maybe if the game is successful and they create a new game, that'll be the way that it's played in the future for online. So the next thing I want to do was to sort of take some time to introduce the cast of characters in this game and just start talking about, you know, who we think we might be more attached to, who we might think we would want to have killed off first, if any one of them is going to get killed off. So there are 9 of them, and I think it's really impressive. There are some relatively big / well-known names, like celebrities, who are voicing some of these characters, including David Arquette, for example, who's not one of the 9 camp counselors, but I think David Arquette plays one of the characters. I believe David Arquette was Dewey in the Scream movies, which is pretty cool because I love him in Scream.
And surprisingly, Brenda Song, who was in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I was kind of surprised by that. I'm like, how cool is that? I didn't know she was acting in games and stuff. That's cool.
Justice Smith, Will Smith's son, is also in this too. So I'll start and read one of the characters' description. So I'm gonna pick for myself, because I feel like this character might be the one that I'll probably gravitate to the most, maybe. I'm gonna talk about Dylan. So I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can have Dylan.
I'll have Dylan at least to read. Dylan is played by Miles Robbins. I don't recognize that name. I'm not sure if I know who Miles Robbins is. But campers and counselors alike love Dylan's oddball humor and deep musical knowledge, broadcasts daily over the camp's PA system. But beneath the affable, edgy person of his radio voice, a much different person lies in wait, terrified of rejection.
I'm super intrigued by Emma. She is played by Halston Sage. Emma is something of a documentarian, capturing and commenting on nearly everything through her phone's front-facing camera for her loyal followers. As a talented actress and enterprising influencer, she runs the camp's drama activities, teasing out the best and worst in everyone she meets.
I could go since you stole Dylan from me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Jacob. Jacob is played by Zach Tinker. Jacob is accustomed to being the most popular guy around, despite some self-centeredness and obnoxious bravado befitting your typical jock. Jacob's got a charming streak and genuinely wants his fellow counselors to have a good time, especially Emma.
Ooh.
We've got some sort of relationship status between those two.
I'm gonna go with Nick in the opposite corner over there. Like many teen heartthrobs, soft-spoken Nick strikes that perfect balance between handsome athleticism and nerdy vulnerability. His fatal flaw is an unwillingness to drop his stoic guard and let people in.
I'll go with Abigail, because from what I read, it's pretty much me in a feminine sense.
Okay, go ahead.
Played by Ariel Winter. Abigail is so deeply buried in her sketchbook that she can't see how well her artistic skills and kind disposition are appreciated by her peers. Socially awkward, but sweet and sincere, she's dying to find some romance before the summer is out.
Ariel Winter, for those of you who might be familiar with that name, she played Alex in Modern Family, the middle daughter of the Dumfries in Modern Family, which I think is really cool.
I'll pick Caitlin, so played by Brenda Song. Caitlin embraces the idea of living out loud, always going towards the fun and never afraid to stir the pot a little. Her amiable nature and ingenuity means she can adapt to any social environment, often allowing her to slip into the de facto role of leader, though she sometimes struggles to express her own needs in stressful situations.
I'll pick Max, played by Skylar Gisondo. I don't know how to say the last name. Ever the class clown, Max has trouble applying himself and seeing things through, unlike his girlfriend Laura. Fortunately, his friendly attitude and unfaltering loyalty make him a great match, provided she doesn't get sick of his lack of ambition, which won't cut it if they plan to go to college together has any hope of success. Oh.
My survivors. So Ryan, right in the center. So we got played by Justice Smith. Most won't get whatever's coming through his headphones, but Ryan lives for connection. Even if he does lean into the whole brooding, handsome loner thing, beneath the reclusive persona is the heart of a hero, determined to prove himself to those he cares about. There you go.
And last but not least, I'll close out by getting Laura, played by, I don't know if I'm pronouncing their name, Shoban
or something like that, yeah.
Siobhan.
It's usually pronounced Siobhan.
Oh, that's
Siobhan.
an I. Oh my god, I thought that was a T.
Siobhan Williams. Laura's excited to spend a quiet summer in the woods as a camp counselor alongside her boyfriend Max. It's the perfect way to apply her resourceful, curious nature before she returns to her veterinarian studies in the fall. For Laura, everything's falling into place.
Ooh, girl.
That's a bad place to be.
She's like, I want a quiet summer.
I'm
No.
That's wrong.
Yeah, that's setting things up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So those are all the playable characters as far as I know. So let's start some discussions on the cast. Why don't we start by talking about who from these 9 do you feel like you'll be the most attached to? You'll probably would be your favorite, maybe the one that you're rooting for to survive till the end.
Max.
Cool. Let's talk about Max. What is it about Max that you think will be your favorite?
I think he looks like he's just gonna try really hard, and he's gonna be like a lovable. I don't know. He's probably gonna make a bunch of mistakes, and it looks like he loves his girlfriend, and they just want a happy ending. And I feel like they're gonna die.
He's gonna sacrifice himself for his girlfriend, I think.
Loyal boyfriend right there.
Mhm.
He's gonna the one time he takes initiative to impress her.
Yeah.
That's
He's
when he
gonna be
does.
like, babe, I did a thing, and she's gonna be like, you have a babe. Thank you. I love you so much.
Aw.
Yeah, like I have a feeling like them as a pair, as boyfriend
Yeah.
girlfriend. I'm like, they seem like they got their stuff together,
Mhm.
We gotta keep
or
them
they're trying to
together.
at least.
It's like that's
Yeah.
you gotta keep them together, not have them split up or go different ways or something.
Right.
Yeah, and we have to make sure that they're not making out in any rooms alone.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
right.
gosh, no!
Because
Within
that
right.
trope,
No
like
sex.
anytime you have a couple in a horror genre,
Mhm.
it's almost like guaranteed that they're like.
No intercourse.
Right. That's the first rule.
Not with any empty closets, empty windows, any means of entry. It's gonna
Just a little kissing though, because I really want to see them together.
A little.
at the end we can get a little kiss.
Maybe-
at the end.
Maybe with Emma and Jacob, because they seem to have a little thing going on.
Oh
too.
yeah.
That's also true, Emma and Jacob.
Emma and Jake.
That's true. I mean, if there might be an actual decision or a choice where you could or could not advance like some sort of make romantic advances to a certain character, and I don't know. You all can vote however you want. So we'll see what the consequences of those
Always
are.
yes.
Always yes. I mean, I'm probably going to always say yes. But
Well, we know, yeah, we know you like the romance.
I love the romance, so
It's true.
I know how I'm voting.
It's one of your good qualities.
probably screw us over, but
How fast
you
do you
know,
run? How fast do you run?
How fast?
Do you make that choice?
How well
Make
can
sure-
I
Do you
my quick times?
grab his hand while you're running through the woods?
The correct answer is always faster than the slowest person in the
Yeah,
group.
exactly.
Faster than the slowest person. Yes.
Keep running. Just
Yes.
keep running. Otherwise, I'll find you.
Who else wants to talk about a character that they might be attached to?
I like Abigail. She
Yeah.
seems so
Same.
sweet.
Yeah.
Same. Like,
Yeah.
she's the virgin of the group. She's got to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious if Ariel Winter plays her similar to how she plays Alex, because Alex is that, you know, smart but insecure, you know, type of character. So I'm really excited to see what she brings to this character specifically.
I think she might be, even if like Caitlin tries to take leadership, I feel like Abigail might be the person who everybody talks to at some point. Because also, like, with the art, if I think between her and Emma, they might catch details other people like might not see, because if she's documenting her like time at camp in her sketchbook at all, like, because everyone thinks she's so sweet, she might be sort of like that one person who breaks like the social boundary, like, you know, because you got like the jock and the social media influencer. So I mean, I feel like I'll be attached to her just from that perspective. Like, she's probably like the good friend, you know what I mean? Like the tropes for the movie.
Yeah, it does show she is socially awkward. So I wonder how that's gonna play in when it comes to her disposition with the others.
I might be reading between the lines too much, but when it's talking about, you know, she's dying to find some romance before the summer is out, the fact that they don't really specify who she may or may not have a crush on makes me wonder if she's on the LGBTQ spectrum. Makes me kind of wonder about that. So I think that'd be really interesting if they went to that angle. So
That'd be nice.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would definitely.
I think there's going to be some friction between Caitlin and Jacob based on their disposition for leadership or popular person. Like, there's going to be a kind of an alpha play there in the group. Could create some noise, could create some problems for the group, could create splitting up, like who goes with who. So I can see those two clashing, and there being some high drama there that could be fun. But I don't see the survivability rate on those two. Doesn't feel good. Yeah.
I'd say that just going off of horror tropes in and of itself, I'd say Laura gives me the strongest final girl vibes. But I don't know.
I love that movie.
But I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if they're going to play with those expectations that we have going into this already from this, and maybe do some with. But I'd say as far as the characters go, I'm curious to see how Ryan develops throughout the start of it, since it seems like he tries to go off a little. He tries to be a little more on his own, but it's not. He didn't choose that lifestyle. Like, he almost felt like he kind of it just going off of reading that, it feels like he was almost kind of lumped into that lifestyle just by how others perceived him at first. But I'm hoping that maybe throughout this story he can step up and become more of a people person.
Well, he's the hero. They say it.
The
He's
heart of a
hero.
hero.
There's heart of a hero.
So then I'm hoping that opportunity presents itself.
potential
for him to
there.
show that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Abigail. Well, I kind of agree with whoever brought up like that. They really hope Abby survives. You know, because it's like the super sweet character. I always root for them in there. But I also think it would be interesting to see how, if Laura actually gives like final girl vibes, because she seems like super resourceful. She definitely seems like the anti-trope, like the person who's like, guys, wait, please don't dig that buried book out of the basement and like unchain it and read a language you don't understand. Like,
Probably there for a
You
reason,
know?
yeah.
Hopefully.
yeah,
Hopefully.
but in terms of her being with Max, I think if it could break them up possibly, like if they're good, well, because if we're in a survival and she's like, I gathered wood, I got a flintstone, like we gotta make a perimeter, and he's not stepping up and showing like ambition, it could, you know what I mean? It could have the potential of her to be like, is he holding me back, or like, is this situation? I mean,
doing his best. You leave him
he is.
alone.
Well, yeah, but in terms of drama, right? Like, in terms of like stress, it could bring them closer together, because it could put him in a situation where he's like, I don't want to lose her, like I do love her. So like, it'll be interesting to see how they play off the relationship. Because I just think of movies like, obviously Cabin in the Woods was mostly like a reverse trope movie, like the twist in it. But I always wonder, like, if these people had survived, like, would they have stayed together? Because they always put really strong personalities dating, so it'll be interesting to see if, like, Max has some hidden, I don't, like, superpowers or something. Not superpowers, but you know what I mean. Like, there's something more there, but he has to find the motivation in himself to do it, basically. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Another thing I find interesting is that they do mention Laura's veterinarian studies, and I wonder if we're gonna be seeing some street medicine kind of thing, knowing that she does have some medicine knowledge.
That would come into use. No, I was just gonna say I love Dylan, and nothing bad can ever happen to Dylan. I love the oddball sort of characters in these sort of movies and those tropes. I don't have a good read on Nick. He's like very guarded, and so I'm wondering who's gonna help him break down his walls a little bit, or if he'll die before he even gets the chance.
Yeah, I agree. Dylan was the one I gravitate to the most, just because I like characters with a good sense of humor. I know that Max is a class clown, so there's probably a bunch of humor there, but with Dylan, not only does he have that oddball humor, he's got that musical knowledge, so I'm into the arts. And I also relate to him because he's sort of like the camp's like PA, like broadcast PA person, and that's what I did in high school. Like, I did the morning announcements in high school. So, I don't know, I feel like he'll be the person I will want to protect the most. But the other character that I am also curious about is Caitlin, because Brenda Song, I think that she plays the strong, opinionated Asian chick really well. And so I'm kind of curious what her character is going to be like, especially a character that tries to, take charge, but is still like amiable in nature and has that ingenuity. So I feel like Dylan and Caitlin might be the ones I'll be watching for the most. Is anyone here among the cast strike you as someone that you probably would want to see go first? If anyone was going to go, if anyone was going to die, is any one of these feel like, yeah, that one can go?
I mean, probably Jacob.
Jacob, the jock. It's always the poor jock.
Because like he strikes me as the kind of guy who would let his hubris, his ego get the better of him, and he'll become overconfident or not treat a situation as seriously as it needs to, and then whoop.
I like them big and stupid.
Sometimes you need to be a little daring,
Yeah,
That's why I'm concerned about Nick, because I don't get a good read on him. Yes, he seems to be athletic, but he's very guarded. I don't know. So
That's true.
I'm not liking Emma though. She feels so shallow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel Emma has the mean girl vibe.
Yeah.
Plastic.
But she might start that way. Yeah, I was actually gonna say Emma as well, even though I'm like more drawn to her as a character, because if she can't engage with the other counselors and kind of like form connection to the people that are actually around her, she might stumble on things like she might be vlogging and then, I don't know, discover something or get kidnapped. Like, we don't know what, like, killer trope we're working with either, because we're going in blind. So that's something to think about, too. Like, are we a, like, Jason vibe? Is it like a Freddy vibe?
We don't know what they're going to be facing.
We don't know.
We don't. So
And it's
that's gonna
like-
be interesting to see because, yeah, I thought the "and worst" in parentheses was kind of funny, but like also just that social media vibe,
Yeah.
being like a main character in a horror game. That's really interesting because it could go either way. Like she could see things other people don't because she's constantly like streaming for the views. So we'll see how that works out in the game.
And you bring up a good point about like skills. Like I don't know if skills come into play, right? Because you mentioned like someone has maybe medical skills or you got documentary skills. Like, is a skill a thing in this game or not? I mean, if it is, it may be valuable. But
I would hope so. I would hope that, you know, if a certain character is dead, you don't have their talents or skills available to you. That happens a lot in the Dark Pictures anthologies, actually. So I hope it matters.
I was gonna say, or just how the decisions we vote on also could combine people's skills in a way that we don't expect it to. Because I assume they built these initial characters going off of tropes people recognize. But if because to keep hype for survival games, there has to be some kind of like intrigue or some kind of surprise. So I'm wondering if there's going to be ways to combine the skills they've mentioned in the summaries to make pairs like stronger, if that makes sense. Like, so if you get separated just two people, you might be able to like make decisions that help you survive that you wouldn't think would. I don't know. Well, if that makes sense.
I am curious overall if they designed these characters to be more likable than some of the games in the past, because in games like Until Dawn and some of the, I think, earlier games in the Dark Pictures anthologies, it almost feels like they want you to hate certain characters. I know that there are people who are like, I don't like any of these characters except for maybe one or maybe two that I hate the least. So I'm not sure. It feels like, just reading from the descriptions, maybe this might be a game where you actually like most of the characters and you actually want them all to survive. So I think that would be interesting if they did that here.
Yeah, in the write-up, like the way they end the paragraph, right, is that they say what the trope description is. Okay, this feels like it's, you know, this kind of thing that keeps repeating in this genre. And then the last sentence is always, but they have this thing that makes them, you know, like they're trying to break, you know, get, you know, be less introverted or get closer to people or want to find love. And so there's that angle that it could be that switcheroo that happens and makes them all potentially likable. Like even Jacob's of the world, like there could be something where, you know, he's not exactly the jock trope, you know.
I do hope that this is a deeper game where the characters might seem at first to fall into one of these tropes, but then you find out that they are a three-dimensional character. They are layers to them, if you allow them to have the time to, you know, discover those layers. Survive to discover those layers. So that's what I'm hoping from this cast, is that they'll surprise me and be like, actually, the jock is actually not what I thought they would be like, etc., etc. Also, can I just point out that, going back to Dylan, I don't know if it's just me, but he looks like Lucky Jack to me. Somewhat. He looks like Dylan almost looks like you, Logan, a little bit. If you
maybe like I was gonna say maybe like 6-7 years ago, maybe.
maybe I think I'm thinking about 6 or 7 years ago.
Like back when we started, but I'll get there. I now have my goal, my picture to tack on the wall. Like, yes,
there you go.
I'm going towards that again.
Hopefully he'll survive.
Well, it's just interesting that they established some pre-established connections between the group. So it's not like you're going into camp with people that you don't know. Which I think is interesting, because in horror movies, at least, it always seems to be like, the vibe seems to be like, oh, we've gotten to know each other because we come back to camp every summer. But going in with sort of a at least for people that have like a I won't say determined, but like a stated connection is interesting, because that could be again, like Max could become motivated to like blossom and like really show his girlfriend like he can have motivation, and then like Dylan could have a softer side that brings out Emma's, like, you know, like Emma could have a side where she's a deeper thinker, but people only see her as like the social media person. So having that in my head, at least generically, makes it interesting to see how like the voted choices will affect the characters. Because like, will Max will someone argue for Max to make a decision because they know he's with Laura? You know what I mean? Or like, will we argue for Dylan to make a decision because we want him to impress, like Emma to be impressed by him? And it might not be the best story decision. You know what I mean? But like, in terms of the survival aspect. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I feel like for me, if you all can do whatever you want in terms of choosing things, but I probably lean more towards what I think would, when I'm doing my decisions, I'll probably go towards what I think will come up with a better story versus what will necessarily cause them to survive or not. Because I don't know. That's probably going to be my main like way.
You're talking like you have a choice, Hark. I'm pretty sure.
I know.
Seven of us.
Right. But however you all want to motivate your choices, I'm just sharing. That's how I would probably motivate mine. Is whatever things would make a more interesting story, like romance.
Yeah.
Romance.
Go into that room and shut that door.